he believes the public has the right to have all the truth, not just what's provided by the mainstream media. He was following his principles. He passionately believes in free speech, he said, freedom of the press, and his overwhelming desire is to expose the truth. The judge said that the breaches were not accidental, negligent, or merely reckless. They were deliberate, direct, and flagrant.
What if everything you thought you knew about Tommy Robinson's imprisonment was a lie? The shocking truth behind his incarceration is about to be revealed, and it's far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. From excessive sentences to inhumane isolation, Robinson's story reads like a political thriller. But this isn't fiction. It's happening right now in the heart of the UK. Are you ready to confront the uncomfortable reality? Tommy Robinson's 18-month prison sentence has raised more than a few eyebrows. For a civil offense, this lengthy term seems unusually harsh, leaving many to question the motivations behind such a severe punishment. When we compare Robinson's case to similar offenses, the discrepancy becomes even more glaring. Typically, civil contempt cases result in much shorter sentences, if any jail time at all. So why the heavy-handed approach with Robinson?
Tommy Robinson has been jailed at Woolwich Crown Court for 18 months after admitting contempt of court.
I mean, he's effectively been jailed for repeating false allegations he made over the past 2 years that were in breach of a court injunction. For 2 years he didn't, and then he started repeating them in online interviews and in a film. He made a 90-minute film that was shown a number of times.
Justice Johnson, who presided over the case, didn't mince words. She stated that Robinson's breaches were far from accidental or negligent. Instead, they involved a degree of sophistication aimed at achieving maximum coverage. This, in her view, demonstrated a deliberate disregard for the law. But does this justification hold water when we consider the broader context? Robinson's actions included publishing a film titled Silenced, where he repeated libelous allegations and showcased it at a public rally. While these actions certainly demonstrate a pattern of behavior, the severity of the sentence raises questions about proportionality. Legal experts have pointed out that an 18-month sentence for civil contempt is highly unusual, even in cases of repeated offenses. The judge's reasoning becomes even more suspect when we consider her comments about Robinson's perceived belief that he's above the law. This language suggests a potential bias against Robinson, as it emphasizes the importance of upholding the rule of law for all individuals, regardless of their status. But is this truly about upholding the law, or is there something more at play? Robinson's lawyer argued that his client's actions stemmed from a passionate belief in free speech. This defense raises important questions about the balance between free expression and legal accountability, especially in cases involving public figures. Are we witnessing a crackdown on dissenting voices, or simply the enforcement of necessary legal boundaries?
For me, behind bars, the way I was treated, I was taken to a prison with quite a low Muslim population. What I'm known for is criticising Islam, so there's been many planned attempts to murder me and kill me in this country. Not seeing or speaking to anybody, and they used the reason that I was in danger. Now, they would have had risk assessments before I went there. I was purposely taken to be put in danger so that then that reason can be used to then put me on solitary confinement. And it took months before I got the opportunity to go before a judge. Once the judge heard what had happened in the trial, we found so many illegal and wrongdoings within this kangaroo court.
The case has caught the attention of human rights organizations who've expressed concerns over the implications for free speech in the UK. Even Elon Musk has weighed in, publicly criticizing the UK government and questioning why Robinson is in solitary confinement for expressing his views. These interventions have sparked further debate about the political motivations behind the sentencing. As we peel back the layers of this case, a troubling picture emerges. The unusually harsh sentence, the judge's language, and the broader context of free speech concerns all point to potential political influence in the sentencing process. Is Robinson being made an example of to silence other dissenting voices? If the sentence itself raises red flags, what about the conditions of Robinson's confinement? The story only gets more disturbing as we look behind the prison walls. Picture this: 21 hours a day in a small cell, isolated from human contact. This isn't the plot of a dystopian novel. It's Tommy Robinson's daily reality behind bars. While most UK prisoners enjoy a degree of social interaction and access to communal activities, Robinson's experience is starkly different. The contrast between his treatment and that of other inmates, even those convicted of violent crimes, is nothing short of shocking. Typically, prisoners in the UK have rights to regular exercise, social interaction, and various rehabilitation programs. They're usually allowed to work, engage in educational activities, and maintain contact with family and friends. But Robinson's confinement tells a different story. He's reportedly kept in isolation for 21 hours a day, a treatment more commonly reserved for the most dangerous offenders. This raises serious questions about the fairness and proportionality of his confinement conditions. The official justification for Robinson's solitary confinement is his safety. But does this explanation hold water? Robinson himself argues that it doesn't, especially when compared to the treatment of other inmates. It's a rationale that seems increasingly flimsy under scrutiny, particularly when we consider that Robinson believes he should be in an open prison, a setting typically designated for civil offenders like himself. The psychological toll of such isolation can't be overstated. Experts warn that prolonged solitary confinement can lead to severe mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. Robinson himself has reported that the prison's mental health team has expressed concerns about the devastating impact this isolation could have on his well-being. Yet despite these warnings, his confinement continues. As we dig deeper into Robinson's case, troubling questions emerge about the broader implications of his treatment. Is this simply about one man's prison conditions, or does it point to something more sinister? The harsh reality of Robinson's confinement, coupled with the unusually severe sentence, paints a picture of a coordinated effort to break his spirit. Robinson's supporters argue that his treatment amounts to political persecution, an attempt to silence a vocal critic through the judicial system. They point to the lack of a jury trial for his contempt of court case as further evidence of a system stacked against him. Whether you agree with Robinson's views or not, the implications for free speech and the treatment of political dissidents in the UK are deeply concerning. As Robinson remains isolated behind bars, public reaction to his imprisonment has been mixed and intense. Some see him as a martyr for free speech, while others view his confinement as just punishment for his actions. But regardless of where one stands on Robinson himself, his case raises uncomfortable questions about justice, free speech, and the potential for abuse of power in the UK's legal system. Tommy Robinson's case has peeled back the curtain on some deeply troubling issues in the UK's justice system. It's not just about one man's imprisonment. It's about the very foundations of free speech and fair treatment under the law. The excessive sentence, the harsh confinement conditions, and the questions surrounding political influence all point to a worrying trend. Robinson himself called it the weaponization of a judiciary to destroy dissident voices. Whether you agree with his views or not, that's a chilling statement. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about how power is wielded in our society. As this story continues to unfold, it serves as a stark reminder of how fragile our civil liberties really are. It's easy to take these freedoms for granted, but cases like Robinson's show just how quickly they can be eroded. The public needs to stay vigilant, questioning authority and demanding transparency, regardless of political leanings. After all, today it might be Robinson, but tomorrow it could be anyone who dares to challenge the status quo.